What if the world's loudest doubts came from the ones you loved most? Ethan Caldwell stood at the edge of a decision that would unravel his life's carefully laid plans. At 24, he was halfway through law school, chasing the path his family had carved for him since he was old enough to hold a pencil. His father, a stern attorney with a corner office, saw Ethan's future as a straight line: graduate, pass the bar, join the family firm. His mother, a paralegal, beamed at the thought of her son in a suit, arguing cases with the same fire she'd seen in his childhood debates. But Ethan's heart wasn't in it. Late at night, in the glow of his laptop, he coded lines of logic that felt more like home than any courtroom ever could. The Caldwells were a family of tradition, their dinner table a battleground of expectations. "You're throwing away your future for what? A hobby?" his father had scoffed when Ethan first mentioned his app idea. His older sister, Clara, already a rising star in corporate law, rolled her eyes. "You're not Steve Jobs, Ethan. Stick to what you're good at." Even his mother, usually his soft place to land, frowned. "We've sacrificed so much for your education. Don't waste it." Their words stung, but Ethan couldn't shake the pull of his passion. His app, a tool to simplify project management for small businesses, was more than a hobby, it was his purpose. So, one rainy afternoon, he walked into the dean's office and quit law school. The fallout was immediate. Family dinners became silent wars. His father stopped speaking to him, his mother's sighs filled the house, and Clara's texts were curt: "You'll regret this." Ethan moved into a cramped studio apartment, surviving on instant noodles and freelance coding gigs. Every rejection email from investors felt like a punch, echoing his family's doubts. Was he a fool? Had he traded stability for a pipe dream? Yet, in the quiet of 3 a.m., when the world slept, Ethan coded. His app, called Grow Easy, began to take Shopee sleek, intuitive platform that could transform chaos into clarity for struggling entrepreneurs. Months blurred into a haze of caffeine and code. Ethan poured his soul into Grow Easy, refining its features, testing it with local businesses, and tweaking it based on their feedback. He was relentless, driven by a need to prove he hadn't made the biggest mistake of his life. But the loneliness was crushing. His friends from law school drifted away, their lives now filled with case studies and internships. His family's disapproval hung over him like a storm cloud. Then, one evening, a stranger walked into his life and changed everything. Her name was Maya, a barista at the coffee shop where Ethan worked most days, tethered to their Wi-Fi. She was 30, with a sharp wit and a story of her own, a single mom who dropped out of business school to raise her daughter, Lily. Maya noticed Ethan's constant typing, his furrowed brow, and one day, she slid a free coffee across the counter. "You look like you're building something big," she said, her eyes curious. Ethan, surprised, opened up about Grow Easy. Maya listened, then shared how her small catering side hustle was drowning in disorganization. "If your app can fix that, you're onto something," she said. Maya became his first beta tester. Her feedback was brutal but honest, exactly what Ethan needed. She pointed out clunky features, suggested shortcuts, and even sketched a logo on a napkin. More than that, she believed in him. "You're not crazy," she told him one night, as they sat in the empty coffee shop. "You're brave." Her words were a lifeline, pulling him through moments of doubt. With Maya's input, Grow Easy evolved into something remarkable. Small businesses loved it. Word spread. Downloads climbed. Ethan's tiny spark was catching fire. Then came the twist no one saw coming, not even Ethan. One morning, as he checked his inbox, a subject line stopped his heart: Microsoft interested in Grow Easy. He read it 3 times, convinced it was a scam. But it wasn't. A product manager at Microsoft had stumbled across Grow Easy on a tech blog and saw its potential. They wanted a demo. Ethan, shaking, prepared for the meeting of his life. He wore his only blazer, borrowed from a neighbor, and pitched to a room of executives in a Seattle skyscraper. His voice wavered, but his passion didn't. He showed them how Grow Easy could scale, how it could integrate with their suite of tools. They listened. They nodded. And then, they made an offer, $10 million to acquire Grow Easy, with Ethan staying on as a consultant. He signed the deal in a daze. The money was life-changing, but the vindication was sweeter. He'd done it not just for himself, but for every dreamer who'd been told to play it safe. When he broke the news to his family, the silence was deafening. His father's jaw tightened, his mother's eyes welled, and Clara just stared. "You did it," his father finally said, his voice a mix of pride and disbelief. For the first time in months, they hugged him. But the apologies Ethan had craved didn't come. Instead, they acted as if they'd always believed in him. It hurt, but Ethan let it go. He'd won on his terms. Life changed fast. Ethan moved into a loft with a view of the city skyline. He hired Maya as his project manager, giving her and Lily a stability she'd never known. Grow Easy became a cornerstone of Microsoft's small business offerings, and Ethan's name started appearing in tech articles. He was invited to speak at conferences, his story a beacon for others. But the spotlight didn't change him. He still visited Maya's coffee shop, now under new management, and mentored young coders who reminded him of his younger self. One evening, as he sat with Maya and Lily at a park, watching the sunset, Ethan reflected on his journey. The money was nice, but the real fortune was something deeper. He'd found his purpose, his people, and his peace. "Do you ever miss law school?" Maya asked, teasing. Ethan laughed. "Not for a second." Lily, now 8, tugged at his sleeve. "Did you really make something that helps people?" she asked. Ethan smiled. "I tried." His family's doubts had once felt like chains, but they'd also forged his resolve. Every "you can't" had pushed him to prove he could. And in the end, Ethan didn't just build an app, he built a life that was his own. The world had mocked him, but he'd answered with action. And that, he knew, was worth more than any fortune.